Hello, welcome. Happy Sunday morning. This is Lorelei. This is Namasturm Yoga. We're going to get started. Hang on, let me shift my camera just a little bit here so hopefully you can see me as I move back to my mat. And let's go ahead and wake up this morning with a little bit of yoga. So welcome. It's good to be here. It's a Sunday morning. I'm in Chicago. Always curious if you want to leave in the comments where you're from. That's always interesting to me. I know not everyone even lives in the United States who comes to this channel. I also know that there are people in different parts of the world who cannot make it at this time, and I apologize. It's so difficult to choose a time that's suited for every single person, but I appreciate you whether you're watching this video live or whether you're joining me at another time. Let's just start moving. So bring your hands to your knees, and we're just gonna start with basically like a little seated cat-cow practice. So opening the heart, lift your chin up, and then on an exhale, round your back. So you could definitely start working with your ujjayi here if that feels good. I'm still wearing my slippers. I just realized those are gonna have to come off in a moment. But while you're sitting, you know, I'm wearing a sweater today, keep yourself warm. Again, it is also not winter in every part of the world, but it is definitely winter here where I live in Chicago. So sometimes you gotta keep yourselves warm. Flowing here. I live in a building. I'm on the second floor, and there's been no one living in the unit below me for the last couple of months, so it makes the place that much colder because we don't get the benefit of the heat rising from the unit below. But I think there is someone moving in downstairs. I saw some movers yesterday, so maybe it'll start to be a little warmer in my home, which would be really nice. Let's let that go. All right, I am going to kick off my slippers here. I've got little pink Valentine's Day slippers. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. I know it was a couple days ago, but still thinking about it a little bit. Let's come on up to knees. My head's going to get cut off here, but oh well. Let's step the right leg out and a little side stretch over to the right. I'll switch to the other camera in a moment, but breathing here, and then we'll go the other way. So let your left hand come down, take the right arm up and over for like a diagonal stretch here. And then you kind of probably know where we're going with this. If you've practiced with me before, float your right foot off the floor and then bring the foot behind you, grab on with your hand. Ooh. And then come back to center. We'll just switch sides. So left leg out, just some simple side stretch. And then right hand down, left arm up and over, take the good diagonal. I have some coffee today as well, so if you need to have a warm beverage with you. Again, this first part, hey, we're just warming up. It's okay if you need to get up from your mat for a second. Float your left foot up, reach behind. I am not a coffee purist. I mix my coffee with hot chocolate. It's the only way I will enjoy it, let's just be honest. That's me. And then go ahead and come on down. Let's go ahead and come to a seat. Let's just take a simple Baddha Konasana, so soles of the feet together, knees can go a little bit wide, and just lean in here. Let this be really passive, so almost kind of in the style of a yin stretch. Just lean into it. No effort. Let gravity do your job for you here. I have to admit, I feel like you guys out there are keeping me accountable. I love waking up with some yoga or some movement of some kind, but there are days where I just neglect to do it, even though I know how good I feel when I do. But I will say having like a scheduled time to do it. And I'm wondering if you feel the same way. So let me know if you enjoy having like a set time to do something, if that helps you do the thing that you would do if you had your choice, but for some reason when it's not scheduled, it's harder to do. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. I think it's not uncommon, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are about that. Let's go ahead and come on up, and then we're gonna go ahead and, with your feet on the floor, lift your hips and just point your knees towards the ground. So heels and hips are still meeting. Chin can go in or head can go back, but just a really broad stretch across your chest here. And then lower the feet back to the ground. And we're gonna switch to a little wider camera as we begin to come to our feet. So go ahead and just bring yourself to a standing forward fold, kind of wherever you want on your mat. Soft knees, let your upper body hang, just kind of dangling here. Can shake, nod or shake your head a little from side to side, or sway your torso, maybe grabbing elbows. Whatever feels good. Just kind of decompressing the spine. This may be less necessary in the morning. Like at the end of the day, if we've been standing or sitting, sometimes our spine kind of compresses, and at the end of the day, it can be helpful to lengthen it out. Here we might be feeling that less if we just got out of bed, but you know, it still feels nice sometimes to release. Soften your knees, and then let's just roll all the way up to stand. Shoulders back and down. Roll them out. Let's just shake out the legs, shake out the arms. Oh, I was a theater kid for a long time, like into my 30s, right? So sometimes this idea of like just moving and shaking your body, that can feel really good, even though that's not yoga, but what the heck, feels good. Let's take our feet out wide. Toes, let's turn the toes out just a little bit, so a little different than prostrata. We're gonna inhale, reach the arms out and up. And we're gonna dive down, forward fold, and we're just gonna roll up and down. Inhale, come on up. Do this a lot of times with the legs more together, just hip distance apart, but let's just try it here with the legs wide. See how it feels coming up, extending out as you come up. A little bit of free flow, right? So there's not, when we're flowing or moving like this, there's not like, oh, you must hit your mark exactly, or you must move your arms in this precise way. But just letting yourself generally come up and open, and come down to a fold, and then, you know, connecting with the breath as best you can. Now, the next time you're down, go ahead and stay down. Let's take the left hand over to the right leg. Hold on to your shin or ankle, and then just take the right arm up, twist it open. And then switch to the other side, right hand to left leg. Come back up, hands to hips, and rise. And now with the toes turned out, let's go ahead, bring palms together in front of the heart and just drop the hips. Knees should be bent over the toes, towards the toes. Notice if you're tending to like stick your butt out way behind you, and gently tuck it. We don't want to overdo that ever, but we just want to think of like tailbone or hips straight down. All right, and then straightening the legs. Let's turn the right toes open and the left toes slightly towards the right. They're just gonna come into triangle pose. Nice, easy Trikonasana. Tucking this right hip in, keeping the sides of the torso long as you shift into the shape. Maybe turn your head, look to your lifted thumb. From here, we're gonna move to a lunge on the right leg. So let your body kind of pivot towards that right foot. Come onto the ball of the right foot and lower your back knee down. So the left knee lowers, we're in a low lunge. Let the arms reach, or if it would feel good, take your hands behind your head, kind of cradling your head, widen your elbows, open your heart here. Just a little bit of floating snow today in case you needed the weather report. All right, let your fingertips come to the floor around the right toes and just gently straighten the leg. And we're just gonna do a little bit of back and forth, a little bend and straighten. So we're not getting like a deep stretch by doing this, but we are letting like the joints warm up a little bit, let the muscles work, but not real hard, not super vigorous. And then plant your palms. Let's bring the right knee to join the left. And we do this sometimes more like a Shivananda sort of sun salutation thing. Instead of just dropping down, let's like lift the hips, bend the elbows, and scoop, bringing the chest between the hands and sliding forward to cobra. And maybe it's a baby cobra. I had someone asking me the other day, like, because I talk a lot about trying to relax the hips and the glutes and the legs behind you in cobra pose. And someone was like, I have a hard time even in a really low cobra. So one thing I would just, remind is, first of all, the legs have to be completely on the floor and your pelvis completely on the floor. So if we're starting to hike up, yeah, you're going to work those muscles. But the other thing is, if you have any low back issues, sometimes those legs are clenching to protect your low back. And so we gotta be mindful that we don't wanna relax them at the expense of creating a lot of tension in the low back. So you could do a Sphinx pose, or you could just, maybe you do need to, if you're coming up into Cobra, have a little bit of engagement in the legs behind you. Ideally, when our spine is feeling fine, our legs are able to relax here, but it might be different. I've also seen something recently that if you tend to be hypermobile, sometimes we do want to do a little bit of muscle engagement, so we're not just kind of dumping into our flexibility here. Let's now go to downward facing dog. Spread the fingers, root down, lift the hips, head down, heart back. Just something I've been thinking about, because I actually have had a little tweaky low back lately, and I've been noticing that it actually sometimes does help to engage. But when my back is feeling fine, it's nice to relax the legs behind me in Cobra. Sure, that's what everyone was wondering this morning. Okay, pedaling through the feet or, bopping through the heels, anything that feels good in this down dog. Love me some down dog time in the morning. And then let's walk the feet all the way forward. Maybe not all the way, just some way so that you're on your feet and you can roll up to standing. Shoulders back and down. I don't know what my hair is doing, it's getting in my eyes is what it's doing. Let's step out wide again. This time, let's go ahead and we'll keep the feet parallel. Take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. So we'll do this variation of prostrita, shoulder blades together and down, folding into the stretch. Head hangs. Shift your weight forward towards the balls of the feet. Lift the quads, open the backs of the legs. And then root down to rise. Let's go towards the left. So we're gonna turn the left toes to the left and turn the right toes a little bit to the left, shifting into triangle pose, Trikonasana. Stack the shoulders, look up towards that top thumb. Press the feet into the floor, lengthen the sides of the torso. And then we're gonna move to our low lunge on the left. A little bit of alliteration here too. Pivot onto the right toes, extend the right foot behind you, arms up, maybe hands behind the head, widening the elbows. And then fingertips down to your mat. And we're just going to do that little gentle straightening of the front leg and bending of the front knee. So I hope you don't mind. These Sunday practices, they're just going to be a little bit more low-key than the ones that I post on Tuesdays. I'm mostly going to just do, like, this is going to be the practice that my body feels like doing. But this is a shared home yoga practice, and honestly, it could just be shared home yoga time. So if your body is suggesting something completely different to you, absolutely. Practice the way you'd like to practice, but just share your mat time with me. So let's just think of it that way, right? We're both practicing, but it could be that we're doing completely different things, and that's absolutely fine. You got to listen to yourself and do what your body needs. Plant your palms, and then same thing, let's kind of do that scoop through, cobra pose, and another downward facing dog. But you know, I actually think sometimes it really helps to have somebody leading a sequence for you so you don't have to think about it. So as much as it's helpful, follow along with me. But as much as you're like, I don't want to do that, do something else. For sure, 100%. No one else knows or cares. Just listen to you. I feel like Bob Ross saying things like that. This is your world. Do what makes you happy, right? But yoga should make you feel happy and good and shouldn't feel like it's adding tension to your life or your body, right? Because what's the point of that? I'm going to drop my knees to the floor, so maybe try that. Let's take a little hero pose, Virasana, sinking the hips between the heels. I do have another practice that'll be coming out this Tuesday, so you can watch for that as well. It's going to be another minimal cues, because that's what everyone really likes. This class, not minimal cues. Most of my classes on my channel, minimal cues, and it's going to be a minimal cues mandala flow, so hopefully you'll enjoy that sequence. I kind of think it's kind of a fun one. If you'd like on this pose, you can lean back, but if it doesn't feel appropriate for you to lean back into the pose, you can stay upright, and sometimes even leaning a little forward is going to give you a good stretch. So, you know, again, what does your body want today? My body wants another sip of my hot chocolate coffee. Oh, lean into it. This actually is a bit of a back bend. So I know sometimes I'll also feel a little bit of like, oh, this is working my low back a little bit. If you need to engage the glutes and lift them to keep your low back safe, go for it. But again, if your back is feeling good, it might feel really nice to just relax the glutes and try to let gravity do some work here on your spine. Obviously we're working our hips, knees, and ankles as well. It should not be painful. I can't stress that enough. Like, pain is not what we're going for. That doesn't mean there isn't sensation. You know, pain is a sensation, but it is not the only sensation. Sometimes challenging or uncomfortable sensations can be valuable, but when they start to move into the point of pain, we sort of have to question, is this where I belong? Okay, let's make our way back up, and we're just gonna go back to down dog. I think we need a little standing pose flow here. So moving to down dog, let's take the right leg up, open the hip and bend the knee. Point the knee to the sky, try to keep your shoulders level, but really twist that low body. And then look forward, step forward. Let's take a warrior one. Pivot the back heel down, come on up. Reach the arms, lunge deep. I'm actually a little warm in this sweater now that I put it on. I was cold before class started. I was like, oh, I want a sweater. Now I'm warmed up. I guess that's good. And then we're going to step onto the right foot, keeping your balance. Pull the left knee into your chest and just see if you can stabilize here. Couple of options. So you might just stay with the knee, holding the knee with your left hand. If you're able to reach down with the left fingers and grab your big toe, do that. In either case, bring your right hand to your hip. If you've got the toe, let the leg extend out in front of you. It might not get completely straight, but we're going towards some straightening. Try to keep the hips level, and then take the leg open. Keep your gaze steady and forward to help with the balance. And sometimes it can feel nice to like reach that right arm out, almost like countering or like mirroring what's happening with that left leg. Now, we're gonna bring this leg behind us. So go ahead and bend your left knee and see if you can continue to hold on. Now, if you've got your knee, you'll also have an option to do it this way. And we're gonna go to a dancer pose. So push the foot into the hand, reach the right hand forward. Lift up the back foot, but keep the chest lifted and the gaze up as well. And then from here, we're gonna step into a pyramid pose. So just let that left foot come down behind you, but it won't be as far back as a lunge, and then folding down. Fold over that right leg. Try to keep the hips pretty level here, and maybe think about even drawing your right leg deeper into the hip socket. Fold. My mic is going all over the place today, so I apologize if the sound is terrible. Sound is really tough in yoga because a body mic is necessarily going to get in the way as you move, but a room mic also picks up a lot of other sounds. Let's just add on a few more poses. So we're gonna make this a bit of a longer sequence. Walk the fingers forward, standing split. Shift your weight. If you can keep your right leg straight in this transition, go for it. So you're just shifting your weight to that right leg and then letting the left one float into the air. Fold your body. And then when we're stepping back now, this time bend your front knee so we can step all the way back for a high lunge. On the ball of the back foot, plant the left hand and take the right arm up. Easy twist here. And then let's take a side plank. So find your way, roll to the outer edge of the back foot. And this could definitely be the modified version. Right leg out from the hip, knee over the ankle, shin vertical, or full version, inner edges of the feet stack up. Turn to your mat. Hey, we're in plank pose. Let's hold for a few breaths. We haven't been in plank yet today, so give yourself a little time. Stabilize through the core. And then take whatever level of vinyasa your body feels ready for. And holding in down dog for a few resting breaths. Let's take the left leg into the air. Open the hip and bend the knee. So we're just gonna mirror what we did on the first side, hopefully. Step that left foot forward. Warrior one, right heel pivots down. Let your body come up. Shoulders back. Leveling everything off. Arms up. Getting my hair out of my face. And then we're going to step to balance. So stepping to the left foot, the right knee is going to just come up and in. See if you can hold your shin. Now remember, you can continue to keep the knee bent and then you'll take it out. And then when we go to our dancer pose, you'll just bring the leg behind you with the knee still bent. But if you're able to reach down with the right fingers for that big toe, go ahead and do that. Left hand to hip. If you've got the toe, straighten out the leg. And then let's take the leg open and maybe extending the left arm as well. If you've got a wall by you, it might not be as easy. Adjust as needed according to the space you are in. And then shifting towards our dancer pose. So find your way in and try to keep the balance. So honestly, sometimes these balancing transition poses, the big job is to not fall while you're moving from pose to pose. So that's first priority, right? And then, we try to work the depth of the pose that we're able to achieve today. Some roses over here. We often have roses in our home. My husband likes to bring them home from the grocery store, so it's always a sweet thing. These ones are fading fast, but they're still pretty. All right, pyramid. Right foot goes, and then let's fold over that left leg. Standing split, fingers come forward, weight comes forward, right leg lifts up. Stepping the right foot all the way back for the high lunge, coming to the ball of the foot, right hand plants, left arm up, twist open. And then moving to a side plank, this time on the right. Roll to the outer edge of the foot and shift that left foot into place. Turn to the mat, and here's your opportunity for a vinyasa. And walk the feet forward. Go ahead and come to a seat. Let's take a boat pose, Navasana here. So shifting onto your sit bones, and let's try this. We're gonna take hands behind the thighs to get us started. What the heck's going on here? All right, shoulders back, lift your shins up level with the floor. So here, shins are parallel to the floor. We're gonna stabilize here with the core. So see if you can start to just hold this shape with your abdominal muscles and release the hands. And then feet to the floor. Let's take a reverse table. So hands behind your hips, plug your shoulder blades in, press down to rise up. Get the hips as high as the knees if you can. Chin in, or that head could go all the way back if you like. Slowly lowering sit bones down. Now, this time, go ahead and grab behind your thighs. Let the shins come up. But now, option to try to straighten the legs, which is easier if you're holding behind the thighs. Lift the heart, and then see if you're able to release the hands. So I know sometimes if we come from here and we're try to straighten the legs, it can be really hard to do. But if we straighten them from an easier position, sometimes we're able to hold there. So see what happens if you give this a shot. I legs are shaking a little, if yours are too, hey, it's okay. It's those muscles kind of working. Feet to the floor. Let's actually take the legs out completely and take a reverse plank here. So plug your shoulder blades in, lift your hips up, point your toes down to the ground, and open the front of your body. Now slowly lower the sit bones to the ground, and we're gonna lower the upper body to the ground as well. Take your legs into the air. Just give them a little shake out here. Shimmy shake. I mentioned sometimes when I'm like still in my bed in the morning, I'll do some exercises with my legs up. So maybe for now, like take your knees a little wide, like a little diamond shape, and just press up and lower. Just work your legs a little bit with the feet together. Knees go wide. We can do a little Pilates if we lift our shoulders. Take your hands behind the right leg, slowly lower the left, and then switch, switch, and switch. Okay, now plant your left foot, cross the right ankle onto the thigh. I had someone the other day say they really liked this stretch, so we're gonna try it again. Left foot to the mat, right ankle crosses onto the thigh, and then we're gonna go into a bridge pose. So you can have your upper arms pressed down and fingers towards the ceiling, lift the hips, or once you lift the hips, if you want, you could work your shoulders underneath and interlace fingers. I think that's more challenging with one leg, but work where you wanna work, and we're just in a one-legged bridge here. Right knee goes wide. Now, when you're ready to roll down, get the shoulders out of the way. Roll your spine back to the floor. We're gonna keep the cross of the ankle on the thigh and pick up the left leg and move this towards a deeper hip stretch. So you can bring your hands behind your left leg. Use your right elbow to press your right knee wide as you draw your shin towards you. Try to keep head and shoulders on the ground. I know it sometimes feels like, oh, I want to do the work and pull my head and shoulders up, but that's not actually the work that we're trying to do here. We're trying to get into that right hip and glute, and I think it's a little easier if the upper body is just really relaxed here. Little bugs flying around. I don't think I got it. How do I get bugs in the winter? I don't know, but we've had a few of them. All right, sorry, didn't mean to bother you with my pest issues. All right, let's do the other side. So, geez, this one's right at my face. Come on, bug. Okay, I think I got him. There'll be another one, of course. Cross your left ankle onto your right leg and then lift up. How do you feel about, there's the ahimsa idea, like we don't want to harm anything living. I do sometimes feel bad about squashing bugs, but I'm not sure what else to do when they're in my home. In our one-legged bridge, let your left knee really kind of drop and open, so you might feel this in your hip as well. And then slowly roll your spine back to the floor. Keep the cross of the ankle on the thigh and pick up that right leg. Draw in for your hip stretch. Okay. Release that, knees into the chest. We're gonna roll, shoulders to hips. We're about to rock back up to sitting here. So if you can, on your final roll up, we're gonna land in boat. Legs extending out, and then maybe straighten them up if the body allows. If the body doesn't allow, obviously, then, do what you can do. Lift the heart. So if you're straightening the legs, the chest actually needs to kind of move towards them in order to keep the counterbalance of those legs. All right, and then bring the feet down, and we're gonna come to Upavishta Konasana, so a nice wide-legged seat. I'm gonna move a little bit closer to you again here. So go ahead and with the feet, take the legs out nice and wide. I always do like to have the heels on the mat, so if you need to adjust your position on your mat, go ahead and do that. And then we're gonna go to the right, and then we're gonna go to the left, and then we're gonna go to the middle, and that's gonna kind of be how we wrap up our practice today. So angling your body to the right for a single leg stretch. Given that these legs are a little warmer, the muscles might be a little bit more ready to stretch, but we never want to overstretch, so we always want to kind of go slowly, be mindful and gentle, and let gravity do the most of the work, because I know sometimes stretching feels like, well, there's resistance. I'm supposed to try to push or pull against it. And actually, I found, and I think this is kind of supported, is that if we try to work against resistance, what we resist persists, or that sort of thing, right? So if we really have resistance in our muscles and we try to go against it, there's a reason why those muscles are resisting. It's because our body's not yet ready to let go. So if we push against it, your body's just gonna resist all the more, and we're not actually gonna be able to make the progress. Whereas if we kind of just ride the edge of where the resistance begins, stay and breathe, if our body feels safe, it will start to let go, and that's where we move forward. So we move forward as the resistance lets go, as opposed to trying to just push against resistance. I hope that makes sense. I think that's a really helpful concept, and I think some of us intuitively know that, but I do know that for sure in yoga, there is sometimes a different way that people tend to want to operate. So I'm just throwing that out there. Now we're going to shift to a side stretch. So let's take the right arm. Maybe it comes to your leg. Maybe it comes inside your leg if you can. Take the left arm up and twist your body open. So starting here with a twist, really letting your chest move forward. And that top arm almost move behind the plane of the body. Now to go into the side stretch, we're going to keep all that. Rotate the top arm in and bring it overhead. Now some of you might find that you're getting close to reaching the foot, right? What we want to avoid doing is rolling forward to get the foot, right? Because that's now we've lost the side stretch. But if that arm starts to reach the right hand, that bottom hand can come to the ball of the big toe side of the ball of the foot, and this other hand would actually come to kind of the pinky toe side. So I'm not there yet on this side, but just saying, then you can kind of hold on to the foot and use that for a little leverage. But again, not forcing, just encouraging, let's put it that way. And then let's come on up. We'll face the other direction. So angling yourself towards that left leg. And I've got some beverage over here. The quad's a little engaged, the foot's a little bit flexed, so there's some toning in the muscles there as we let go. Keep your right leg a little bit of an anchor. And then we're going to take the left arm to the thigh or leg or wherever it will naturally land. But if you can bring it to the floor, sometimes that gives it a little bit more support and stability. Right arm up, turn open, lift your heart. And then side stretch. Got a little sun peeking through today. Right in my eyes. Can you see that? I'm like in a sunbeam. All right, come on up. And let's fold down the center. Oh, what is my hair doing? I put it in the braids, but that's not really working out so well. All right, let's just sink down the center. And there's multiple ways you can work here. So you could just put the hands down and start to fold. Some of you might easily get the head to the floor, in which case, okay. You could reach for the toes. So if you like to grab toes and then kind of pull on the toes to draw yourself in. And again, we're just kind of using the toes almost like we're pulling to resist a little and then letting the chest drop down. So, you know, find your way here. We'll just take maybe about 10 breaths total. Carefully coming up. Take the legs in front of you. Give them a little shake out, shoulders back. Ooh. You know, we're here, we're moving, we're alive, we're awake. We're gonna go about our day. Come back to an easy seated position, crossed legs. Ooh. I always encourage a little time in Shavasana. So again, I know some people would prefer that I lead them into Shavasana and spend the time there. I think that if you want to take Shavasana, like Shavasana can be 10 minutes long. So I think that I want to give you permission to do in your own space, in your own way. Put on music, add a blanket, get a bolster, you know, turn your lights down. But do take it. We're going to end from here though. You could also stay seated for a little longer and do a nice short meditation for yourself, like a seated meditation. So I think this is an invitation to let your practice resolve in the way that makes most sense to you. I trust you. You got this. This is your home yoga practice. But let's end our shared portion here. So the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you wherever you are, wherever you may be. Thank you so very much for joining me and sharing this practice. Namaste. All right. Let me know if you liked this one. You know, give the video a thumbs up if you can. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, if you're just finding me through this particular video. I have, I don't know, 250 classes up, something like that. It's a bunch. So please join me again. And I do continue to post regularly, just I think on Tuesdays around 4:30 Central Standard Time, which is in the US. And yeah, and I'd love to hear any comments that you might have, or even if you just want to say hello. Take care. Have a great rest of your day and a great week. Bye-bye.